As a part of flow, not force, I want to show you a model that's used frequently with therapists, coaches. It's a model to help us understand how to navigate the changes that we create as we're thriving and growing. And conversely, what happens with people, and maybe we've been here in our past as well, that don't honor or understand someone who's trying to create a better life for themselves. We talked a little bit about this in creating the conditions to thrive as well. Not everybody's going to clap and celebrate our growth. And so in the download for this month, you'll see an illustration of what is often called the drama triangle. And to be honest, I've done some research trying to find who to attribute this model to fundamentally, and it's super confusing. Lots of people use it and use iterations of it. So I don't even know who to attribute it to. The bottom triangle that you see in the illustration is one that's living more as a victim. And the top triangle is one that's creating their lives, writing their own story of thriving and growth and prosperity and flourishing, which is the camp that we're living in now. But as I said, you may have been in this bottom triangle before. This is not about guilt and shame. In fact, another part of living in flow, not force, is understanding that our story has a past, a present, and our hopes and dreams for the future. We don't look back on our past thinking that we got it wrong. We look back on our past looking at how we've evolved and the ebb and the emotional flow of growth in our lives. It takes mistakes. It takes some interesting choices and relationships and things that we've been in our past that inform who we are today and how we navigate the future. We always look at our story, past, present, and dreams for the future with loving, kind eyes. It's all a part of the deal. The Bible says they'll use it all for our good. And so as I show you this model, and if you have lived in that bottom half of the victim aspect of things that we're going to cover, it's okay. I've been there. I even find myself from time to time having little glimmers of that want to show back up. So we always look at ourselves with loving, kind eyes. Okay, let's get into it. The bottom is what is a victim cycle. So someone that is living their lives as a victim, which can look, I'll give a few examples, but let me play it out first. So if you're living as a victim, you need there to be a villain, someone to blame when things don't go your way, and you need someone that's going to rescue and fix things when things aren't going your way. And so when we get into that cycle of villain, rescuer, I'm just blaming others that my life isn't what I want it to be. There's a downward spiral that we just stay stuck. In my work, I often call that striving. I talk about the difference between striving and thriving. It's an aspect of striving. It's the lowest level of striving. High achievers have a different kind of striving, but this battle, conflict, I'm always in a battle. I'm always frustrated with someone that my life isn't what I want it to be. And if we stay in that downward spiral, not only do we stay stuck, but because our brain is always operating off of old patterns, we likely either become, for others, a villain or a rescuer and a fixer. And so we want to be really aware of this spiral. And the rescuer fixer piece for women is a really dangerous area. This is where I lived for a while with my family. And I had to learn these things that brought me up into the creator model to create my life. And when we're in creation mode, writing our own story, our own Thrive story, the two things that we need in our lives are a nurturer and a coach. A nurturer holds up the mirror and helps you see you and understand the greatness in you. Be there with empathy and vulnerability when things aren't going well, but to nurture in a loving way. The coach usually is someone that's been where you'd like to go. They have what the Bible calls fruit in their life. They've done things that are interesting to you that you want to maybe learn from. And so you need someone that can teach you, which means you need to be teachable. And you can see how in that rescuer fixer part of the bottom half with kids, maybe team members at work, we think we're helping. But when we're a fixer, what we've unintentionally implied is that they are broken. And nobody wants to feel like they're broken. And so while our intent may have been to be helpful, what I find in that rescuer fixer place more often with high achievers is that we're just trying to control the situation to make our life easier. If they would just get it together. So I'm just going to jump down into this triangle and fix it real quick so I can jump back up and do what I want to do. Well, you can see where this goes, right? We unintentionally set up this cycle and this expectation that you're always going to jump down and fix it for them. And one, they don't want to feel broken. So not only are you really not helping, over time, those that you're trying to help, and this happens with kids a lot. My son with ADHD, this was our situation because I just was trying to make his life better. But I quickly realized that there's this bitterness and resentment that starts to set in, and then you become the villain. And you didn't mean to. You're helping. You were rescuing and fixing out of love and good intentions. But it keeps them stuck in this place where now you're the villain and they're not getting the lives that they want. And so as leaders, as parents, it's just loving part of being in relationship. We need to make sure we stay in the creative, writing your own story, upper part of this triangle, and that we bring others up with us through nurturing and coaching. So being a nurturer is, as I said earlier, looking at situations with loving and kind eyes, pausing, the pause between the beats. We don't always have to have everything all the time on our time. Sometimes we need to pause and we need to make eye contact and we need to listen. Sometimes the best nurturing that we can do is to become a better listener. So one of the takeaways of this month's content is to be mindful of how often you're setting things to the side and getting eyeball to eyeball and heartbeat to heartbeat with those people that you want to be in relationship with, those that are planted really close to you in the garden, family, colleagues, direct reports, giving people the space to think through things without fixing it, without rushing in to giving it advice, but just to ask reflective questions. Well, how did that make you feel? What do you think you should do? That sounds hard. Just being in a space with someone and giving them the love and the time to nurture the relationship, that'll change lives, y'all, yours and theirs. And then for the coach side of things, once you've nurtured, people are much more open to coaching. But also, do you need a coach? Do you need someone to take you up to the next level? Isn't that why you're here? I hope that I'm providing that for you. That's my intent. But maybe there's some dream that you have that you want to do that you're going to need coaching that I'm not providing. Let me help you find those people that are going to take you where you want to go. So I hope this model provides a bit of a framework for you to spend this month being more aware of where you might be rescuing and fixing and where you might need to elevate to nurture and coach, and make sure that you're getting nurtured and coached yourself. Because as high achievers, as leaders, the top of your game, we don't always have the nurturers and the coaches that we need. That's why you're here. I'm happy to provide it, but I also want you to have somebody down the street, heartbeat to heartbeat, that can actually be that in your life. So we'll talk more about that on our coaching call. Love you, mean it.